Benjamin Percy and Federico Vincentini continue Moira's search for answers as the Warlock-Infused future Wolverine quickly gets on her trail of carnage left by the former mutant and her battles with Mystique. Benjamin Percy continues the surprising Moira McTaggart focused storyline with another issue that continued to invoke a lot of the Jason Bourne spy thriller genre that the first issue sparked. We got a lot more of that Warlock Wolverine that was teased at the end of the last issue this time round, but in doing so we're left with quite a few questions, such as, is this Logan hunting her or helping her, being that it seems he's only tracking her arm and that's Warlock tech and he's imbued with Warlock tech, so is that something to do with that? Is this like some future Wolverine who was sent to get Krakoan property back from Moira, or is Doug somehow sending this Wolverine after her to help her? A lot of questions still to be answered, and that's just one of the many ones, since some of the big things coming so far from this book is we learn that Moira has cancer, and in this issue we find out that Krakoa was actually the ones who gave her the cancer, and that leads to the question, does the island do this for all humans who are not welcome on the island? Because she became not a mutant at the end of Inferno, so could the Krakoan island have seen her just suddenly appear as a human on the world and think that, oh, this human's not meant to be here, I'll just infect it with cancer and kill it off? But then also she worked in what was essentially a Krakoan tumor for most of her life, so is this like a byproduct of that? I'm really interested to see where all of these plots are actually going, and hopefully we get some really great payoff. Apart from all of this sort of questioning and no real answers given just yet, I really do enjoy where the book is headed, especially with Moira and her frame of mind, and it begins with her sort of questioning Krakoa and questioning her role there, and she begins to get really vindictive towards Krakoa and is visibly upset when she's kicked out, not because she wanted to help mutants, but because she's not getting the recognition and praise she thinks she deserves. It's such a great way to take the character in a completely different way than what I thought they were going to be doing with the character, and I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes for her. Federico Vincentini continues his fast-paced action artwork, keeping the kinetic, fast-paced action feel for the book going. The brutality is up to this issue with a really gory scene of Moira cutting her own arm off and cauterizing the wound with an iron, and it's all shown on the page, which is really quite surprising to me, and it actually made me wince a little bit, which doesn't happen all that often when it comes to gore and blood. The 10 Deaths of Wolverine issue 2 was another great issue that continued the book's spy thriller tone while giving us more questions to ponder as Moira begins to undergo some crisis of character moments throughout the story. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. The 10 Deaths of Wolverine issue 2 finds the sickly Moira McTaggart in Oklahoma, where a gas station clerk asks if the coughing woman is okay. He guesses that she is a big road trip ahead of her thanks to all of the energy drink and caffeine pills she's buying, knowing that she's from Pennsylvania, having spotted her license plate. He quickly apologizes for talking so much since he doesn't get many people coming this way often. Moira pulls a gun on him, tying him up and taking all of the store's cash. She apologizes as she uses his phone to call Jane, telling her not to say her name since they could trigger an algorithm that is looking for her. Jane is glad to hear her voice, glad they didn't catch up to her as Moira apologizes for dragging her into this, hoping all is well at the hospital. Jane knows it's fine, having done some follow-up tests on her blood and finding that the cancer is unlike anything she has seen, finding floronic matter woven into it. Moira thinks about the no place biome and the mutants doing this to her. She throws the phone out of the speeding car window as in the Gulf of Mexico, some fishermen reel in a big shark, finding that it is visibly injured. As they wonder what could have done this, Wolverine climbs aboard, throwing one of the men off as one of them stabs him with the spear. It doesn't do anything to Logan though, as he throws the man overboard and rips the spear from his chest. He tells the final man to leave, popping his claws and making the man jump into the water as Logan speeds off in the boat. In New Mexico, Moira hides out in a motel room, knowing that it wasn't meant to be like this and Xavier's dream was her dream as well, more so even, and now she has gone from being their secret weapon they protected to the curse they want to erase. She knows Mystique will find her again and knows how, looking at her Warlock tech arm. Outside, a man pulls up into the motel, asking the desk clerk if he could get a room, giving the man twice the room rate to tell him about his supposed daughter who is traveling alone. The clerk refuses to give him any information about their guests, as the man knows that he will tell him and everyone talks eventually. It's just a matter of how many bones they want broken. Moira meanwhile turns on an iron and fills the bathroom's bath with iodine, getting inside and finishing off a whiskey bottle as she heats up a knife, using it to cut her warlock arm off before using the iron to cauterize the open wound. Mystique meanwhile learns from the clerk where Moira is, acting as the maid as she kicks in the door, firing at the bed where she sees Moira's arm. Pulling the sheets back, she finds only the bloody arm on the bed, as under the bed a bomb goes off, blowing up the entire motel. On Krakoa, Destiny looks out on the island, knowing that she warned Raven what would happen if she went after Moira, but Raven thought the future was negotiable. She hates being right, sensing that all might not be lost though, as she knows death himself keeps materializing in her mind. In Forge's lab, Xavier asks Forge about the egg pod Black Tom found. Forge is still trying to crack the analytics on it, and he explains how it's like stone and ice, and he's going to core the plant and find out what it is exactly. He knows it is Krakoan, but it's older than anything they have, and the timelines don't match up, and it's thousands of years older than the island itself, and it doesn't belong there. Wolverine meanwhile arrives at the bombed out motel, attacking the cops as he enters the area, seeing Mystique's corpse amongst the inferno along with the warlock arm Moira had. Scanning the arm, he moves on to the office, using the warlock tech to hack into the computer, getting the location of Arnab Chakalda, the mutant known as Epiphany, finding his location in California as a cop tries to taser him for trespassing on the crime scene. Wolverine reverses the taser on the man, as outside, Moira watches through a sniper's scope as Wolverine takes the cop's car and speeds off. She knows she's seen what the future holds, not thinking it would get there so fast.